Hi, thank you for coming and watching Own Your Future podcast. Today we're going to have on Joe Assiradoo. He's with Gold Coast Realty. We've worked on a few deals together, and I thought it would be great to have him on the podcast. Hey, Joe, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Eric.
Thanks for coming on. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, as Eric said, my name is Joseph Assiradoo. I'm the owner and broker of Gold Coast Realty. We are located in Plymouth, Massachusetts, and we do deals all over in Massachusetts and Rhode Island. We have licenses in both states, so we do transactions and deals in both states. I've been in real estate since 2013. That's about 10 years, almost 10 years now. And within that period, we've seen some really complicated deals, some really challenging deals, and some of them turn out to be ones that we couldn't get to the end point with it. In some cases, we're able to go through few obstacles and we are able to get it done. Most of the time, we get with Eric and going back and forth with the customer, we are able to get some of these deals done. So,
Perfect. Yeah,
we've seen some few things that are pretty good.
yeah. So we just actually had a recent closing, so I thought it's great to have you on. We had a gentleman, Stanley, close on a deal, got him $29,000 in down payment assistance, and the condo needed particular financing because it wouldn't qualify for FHA. And so we had to find another program for him to fit into, and we're able to do that and get the 29,000. So I thought that was a great deal. What did you think?
Oh yeah, in fact, there are many situations where we get this opportunity that they turn out not to be able to get through. But this one went through very well. The client is very happy. We closed closed last week. Very happy about the whole process and just looking forward to enjoying his new home.
It's easy to make somebody happy when you get them $29,000 in down
Oh
payment
yeah,
assistance.
that is very true.
Also, his payments like $300 or $400 cheaper than the FHA option, which I thought was kind of crazy.
That is true.
Um,
That is really great.
but we've also worked on some other deals, where they've gotten pre-approved by other people and things kind of gone sideways. So tell people how important it is to work with somebody that the realtor trusts, because we've run into a few people who have been pre-approved and then I get a hold of it and they should have never been pre-approved from the beginning.
Yeah, there are some customers that I would bring along, and they would say, "Oh, I have a loan. I have a pre-approval. Maybe I have a pre-approval." And I would say, "Okay, let's look at it." We use that, and we turn out that the pre-approval, the person who provided pre-approval, didn't really do the initial work that needed to be done. So when I turn it over to Eric, he's able to look at it and try to be able to give us a heads up on what we are going to try to expect in the future. And with that, we are able to make it work. Um, there was this lady like Eric you were talking about. She had a VA loan. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember. So she got pre-approved for a VA loan, and then you reached out to me because the deal was going sideways.
Yeah.
Um, I think she was trying to buy a condo a little out west, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Yes. And we had to. I had to get in touch with Eric to be able to see if we can get it done, and we were able to. Um, we were able to try to. Eric was able to try to help to make this process go through. Um, so yeah, yeah, instances that we come across stuff like that.
Yeah. So the funny thing is with her, I told you that I couldn't get her pre-approved, and then she ended up going to another mortgage professional after me. getting pre-approved, and then that deal fell apart. So
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious. And then she kept coming back to me, and I'm like, listen, I can't do anything for you. You need some time. Um, but so you and I have worked with a lot of first-time home buyers out there. Give some of our first-time home buyers an idea of kind of what you're seeing out there in the market. It's a little competitive from what I'm seeing.
Yes. Right now, with the increasing interest rate, it's making it very difficult for the first-time home buyers to get loans to try to get properties, and right as a result, the inventory in the market is a little bit lower at this time. So you are not seeing that multiple offers that we were seeing before. In some instances, we've seen that the prices of those properties in the market currently are a little bit. They end up lowering the prices. So this market is not that great like we've seen before. Yeah.
So I've seen a few more people get some seller credits accepted on their offers. Have you been seeing a lot more seller concessions when people have been making offers on houses?
Um, not that much. Usually, the sellers want to get the deposit from the loan and try and purchase another property. So um, we there are instances where when um, not that much. In fact, in this current market, I haven't seen much seller concessions because, um, well, right now, we are not seeing that competition that we used to see before. And it's tough in this market at this moment. Yeah.
Perfect. Um, so what kind of tips do you give our first-time home buyers when they start looking for a house?
Usually, they end up. First home buyers have very high expectation on what they are looking for when you start the process with them. So, for example, they would be pre-approved for, let's say, 400,000, and you're like, okay, this is the kind of house that you would be in the market for. And then they would bring in. Sometimes they'll send you a house that is 500, 550, and yeah, you put in an offer. He's like, I want it. I want to put in an offer. Put an offer, and it comes back. That give them that reality check, really hit them hard and realize that no, you are in this price range and that's where you're gonna try and be. So one, I would say that you have to lower your expectation, especially first time buyers, lower expectations, and work closely with the real estate agent you're working with, because they know the market and they know where to help you, guide you find your first home. And then secondly, first home buyers, sometimes they feel like they can buy a property that is that has some work and that they can fix by themselves, but that brings in a whole different type of loan for that type of property. Sometimes to they look at foreclosed properties and other um, properties that have much lower prices because of certain things associated with that property, and they would want to go into that direction. I always advise them that since it's your first time, you don't want to go into a property where like an auction property or foreclosed property or something like that. Where the process is a little bit complicated. You want to be able to get a clean sale so that you can close within the normal 45-day window. And when you have the experience in the future, if you want to buy a second or third home and you want to go and buy foreclosed property and go through the foreclosure processes and try and get it closed at a certain time, that is something that you can do. It's is doable, but I try to advise first-time home buyers that those approach would not work for them, especially since it's their first experience.
Yeah, you bring up a great point because I have a lot of people always ask me, "Hey, can I get a foreclosure? Can I buy something at auction?" And I often say you can because I don't want to discourage anybody from like pursuing something. But I've had people try to buy foreclosures, and buying that foreclosure took 9 or 10 months, and
Yes.
to close. And so, I mean, maybe you can wait 9 or 10 months to close, but usually when somebody finds a house, they're typically looking to move in within, you know, 30 to 60 days. And when a lot of people right now, they might be looking for 3, 6, 9 months before they find a property. And then you're talking about, hey, it takes you 6 months to find a property. And now you're going to potentially wait another 9 months to close on that deal. Not that every foreclosure does that, but it's definitely a possibility that you could be waiting 9 to 12 months to close on that foreclosure. So you bring up a great point with a first time home buyer. They don't really understand the complexities of um, of the foreclosure process or the auction process. And also there's like additional fees. Like if you find one of these online auctions, there's like additional fees that the buyer has to pay that you don't typically pay in the buying process as a buyer. And so I try to make people aware of that as well. But you bring up great points. Now,
And then
people always,
also, as you mentioned, the loan, as you mentioned, the type of loan that they would need for that type of purchase is also going to be different from the normal conventional or FHA loan, right? Because there would be a need to do some renovations in the property before they can move in. And a normal loan wouldn't be able to do that unless you get some specialized loan. Like if they are going the FHA route, then maybe the 203K loan. I don't that one. I think they have some levels as to what the type of complications that they would need to do to be able to get that type of loan.
yeah. So you bring up a good point as well. So like a lot of those 203, a lot of those foreclosures have deferred maintenance that need to be fixed, and they might not be eligible for a typical loan. And so with the 203K, you have the full 203K, and then you have the streamline. The streamline, I tell people, allows you to do up to about $30,000 worth of work before, because it actually goes up to 35, but there's contingencies and expenses that you have to work in. So I typically say the amount of work you need to do needs to be 30,000 or less. And then if it's more than 30,000 or you need any structural work, we have to go with the full 203K loan, which requires a lot more uh, involvement. Like you need a HUD consultant. You may need structural engineering or architectural drawings or whatnot. So it really depends on how deferred the property is. But it's a good point that if you find a foreclosure that you actually get an accepted offer on it, there might be a lot more work involved because the house may not be in a condition where you can get that typical financing. So one thing, so you and I work with a bunch of first-time home buyers, and obviously that's kind of where a lot of our business comes from. But you work with other people other than first-time home buyers. What are some of the other kind of clients that you work with and help get into houses?
Well, some of the clients that we have worked with that are not first-time home buyers they are much more experienced in the process. They um, they know where they are, what they're expecting, and the process is a little bit easier, I should say, because they know they know what they are getting into and what they are expecting. We did one loan for a customer recently. We did one transaction for a customer recently that did a cash purchase. They had a large equity from selling their home, and they moved from a large property to a condo, and they did everything in a week in a cash purchase. So this transaction like that is very smooth, very quick, and you don't have to do all the other things that you have to do when you need financing for it. So that is one of the type of deal that we did recently on a cash purchase.
Yeah, you've been working with a lot more investors lately too. Is that correct?
Yes, we've been doing that recently. There's they go mainly they use the private loans. There's one deal we had in Canton that the borrower purchased for I think $450,000, and as of now he's invested about another $300,000 into it, and they are looking to put it on the market. In fact, next week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to put it in the market next week, and hopefully they'll be able to sell it and try to do it again. In fact, there are a few others that are in this business. They get their loan from private lenders, and I understand you also have that loan where you can do for flipping properties. Is that correct?
Yeah, so you have the investor fix and flip loans. Sometimes they're called hard money. Some hard money lenders don't like that term, so they say it's private. They say it's private money.
Private, yes.
Yeah. So typically when somebody's buying like an investment property that they want to fix and flip, you need a different loan program. We do have I call it a fix and flip, where somebody can purchase the property as long as there's room in the after repair market value. Sometimes 100% of the renovation costs can be covered. Interest rates are obviously a little higher on that than a typical loan. You're looking at paying points. They're great for other investors who are looking to buy like maybe they don't want to do a fix and flip. Maybe they want to do a hold. And let's say it's like a 3 or 4 family. You have an option or an alternative from your regular financing. You have the DSCR loans, which stand for debt service coverage ratio. And as long as the rents cover the mortgage on those, we can typically do the deal. So those are good loans for investors as well. So what do as you know, I'm an investor as well too. I own a couple investment properties. Have you seen, or how is that market going for investment properties? Does it seem like it's heating up? Does it seem like it's slowing down? What are you seeing in that market?
Well, the market is very competitive, and it hasn't slowed down, but just that the properties that come on the market is not it's very limited. So when they do come, you get a lot of people competing for that particular property, and the price tends to go high. Situations like an auction property, you would see that the typical property that sells in a town like Holbrook for like $500,000. I'll give you an example. There's a property in Holbrook that went on auction, and the after renovation value is somewhere around $500,000, but the competition was so high that they ended up buying the property for about $380 something thousand. So in this case, you would have to be very limited as to what you are going to try to fix, and then get enough equity in there to try and sell to make some money. So when the competition is that high, it's become very challenging for the investors to be able to bid on those properties and get enough room for be able to do the renovation and then put it back on the market.
Great. Yeah. Well, hey, Joe, I wanted to thank you for coming on the podcast today and sharing some of our experiences together working with first-time home buyers and giving a little insight to maybe some other people that you help. If somebody wanted to get in touch with you or had questions about the buying process or real estate in general, how would they get in contact with you?
Well, there are several ways. My phone number is 781-413-7302. And my website is goldcoastrealtyhomes.com. When you go there, you have all the information that you can get for us, and you'll be able to get in touch with us.
Perfect. Well, thank you for coming on, and everybody else, thank you for watching my podcast. As remember to like, share, and follow so other people can see what we're doing here. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Eric, for having me.